Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, where what we do here is bring bad news to Democrats on a daily basis since 2019. Well people, there's a reason I chose that intro. I'm sure you could put two and two together. This video is nothing but bad news for the Democrat Party, nothing but bad news for Joe Biden's little re-election bid here. Now generally it takes me a couple days to put these videos together. I'll slowly start stockpiling information, little reports, anecdotes, interviews, and of course polls. I'll stack up as much as I can until I have enough information to make one video, but today that was not necessary. This is what my internet tabs look like after 5 minutes of perusing Twitter. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to cover all of it, but we'll touch as much as we can. The establishment is officially in full panic as Joe Biden is tanking lower than ever before. And of course, the looming threat of the return of Orange Man Bad continues to be a very, very real reality that Washington is struggling to cope with. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, I want to start off with this. This is Pollster Frank Luntz. We all know who he is. Republican in name, of course. Supposedly a Republican pollster, but he's more the Liz Cheney, Kevin McCarthy type. This man is vehemently anti-Donald Trump. In other words, he's a pollster that leftists absolutely love. Well, leftoids, one of your favorite pollsters, has some bad news for you.
If you had to bet $150,000 on who's going to win in November, who would you bet on?
I never dreamed that I would say this, but I would bet on Trump. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. You don't come back from an impeachment. You don't come back from January 6th. You don't come back from any of this. But he's come back. The guy's a survivor. And his opponent is having so much trouble that I would, at this point, give the edge to Trump.
Now that looks like a defeated man, and he presented all of those concepts with such a negative undertone. How could you survive impeachment? January 6th, yada yada yada. How's it even possible? He presented these ideas as if it was shocking, horrifying. But I don't know about you guys, I was getting pretty hyped up there. Donald Trump's proving to the world that he is the unstoppable political force. No matter what they throw at him, he just continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And at this point, even the biggest Trump haters have to admit that that's the reality. Leftists are starting to come to terms with this reality, that pretty much no matter what they do, Donald Trump isn't going anywhere. And I'm not sure the same can be said for the current resident occupying the White House. As Trump continues his dramatic comeback, Joe Biden, well, hitting literal all-time lows. Take a look at the highlights from the most recent ABC poll.
They aren't improving. In fact, they seem to be going in the other direction. Our poll this morning has Biden's approval rating at 33%. That's historically low for him, low for an incumbent president. It's at 15 years since we see numbers that low. And on the economy, it's even actually worse. Only 31% say that they approve of Biden's handling of the economy. You have the question of the president's age. I mean, it's just there in poll after poll, not just ours. Our poll, in fact, said 28%, just 28% think that President Biden has the mental sharpness to effectively serve for another term.
Let's really quickly go over that. 33% approval rating, down nearly 30 points against Trump on the issue of the economy, and only 28% of the American electorate, according to this survey, suggesting that Joe Biden has the mental acuity to serve a second term. Now, honestly, I'm more concerned about the mental capacity of those 28% respondents. I think those people are either suffering major Trump derangement syndrome or a new concept known as a Biden syndrome, pretty much just that. But the simple fact is Joe Biden is underwater pretty much across the board. There's just not much to be excited over, let's be honest. Even Bernie Sanders is honest enough to admit that.
I think people will end up rallying around Biden. But there is no question, it is very hard for young people, I think for most Americans, to be excited about what is going on right now. President has got to change course. He has been very clear. But
of course, if we get into the data, it gets even worse. Americans identifying as Democrat now falls to record low, the best number for GOP since 1991. In a Gallup survey released on Friday, the number of Americans identifying as Democrats has fallen to a record low, while those identifying as conservative or moderate ties for top ideological identification. Here's the data. As you can see, from 1991 to 2023, only 43% of people surveyed in this Gallup poll now identify as Democrat. That's the lowest number since 1991. Very clearly visualized here. Joe Biden's in some serious trouble, especially with the most important Democrat voter bases. New poll shows core Biden demographic is struggling to make ends meet. Due to economic hardships, a whopping 31% of Gen Z live at home with their parents, a Credit Karma survey of 1,249 US adults found. In other words, Gen Z is broke, struggling to make ends meet, struggling to really start their lives, make enough money to put a roof over their head. Meanwhile, Joe Biden continues his media tour touting the great success of Bidenomics. Absolute frickin' fool. Then there's this. Will young men vote Democratic in 2024, percent identifying as Republican? Again, the highest number in the last decade. Young voters are ditching Biden. And it probably has something to do with the messaging. The old concept of Democrats say the darnest things. Left-wing politicians continue to make fools of themselves, saying the most ridiculous things. Like this, for instance.
Do you think it's a crisis what's happening at the border?
Well, I think it could be fixed. I think crisis is, we certainly have these. I don't want people living outside Minnesota right now. I think there's the humanity piece of this, and then there's the right that every sovereign nation has a right to control its borders, as we should. More could be done, but they're doing nothing. Congress is doing nothing. The president is asking for more aid for Border Patrol, not getting it.
But do you think the border's secure?
I think the border, with the folks who do the work down there, are doing a great job. Could we do better? Absolutely.
What an absolute clown. Or this.
Listen, facts are stubborn things. We have 14 million jobs created under this president. When you look at all of the stock markets, they've higher than they've ever been. Core inflation lower than what it was before President Biden got into office.
Another clown. Or this.
I will tell you, as someone who is a Texan, who does have communications with Border Patrol, they're doing their jobs. I mean, the big issue is, why do we have so many people that are coming over here? To insinuate that there is a security issue in the realm of there's so much crime that's going on that we're not able to catch. I actually have to tip my hat off to Border Patrol. And Border Patrol has asked us to make sure that we can improve the technology so that they can have better detection of those bad guys that are trying to get over and trying to bring things over.
Completely idiotic. Political non-answer after non-answer relating to the southern border. One of Joe Biden's key advisor claiming core inflation is down, when the number literally got released like 2 days ago and it's at 4%. That's 3% higher than when Joe Biden took office. You just can't make this stuff up, and people are starting to pay a lot of attention these days, obviously, heading into an election season, and this is the rhetoric coming out of this Democrat-controlled White House. It seems like their election strategy is, don't believe your lying eyes. Just believe the nonsense make-believe garbage that we spew out of our mouths, and don't ask questions. And to make matters worse, Joe Biden's now on the campaign trail, suffering gaffe after gaffe after gaffe, as we covered yesterday. It takes time, but when you're pushing such monumental BS on a consistent basis, eventually, people are going to wake up and wisen up, and it seems as though, as of right now, that's exactly what's happening. I don't know, if Democrats keep this up, they may end up doing some serious damage to their little political party that might last an entire generation. I don't know about you guys, but I have this feeling that Gen Z isn't going to turn out as woke as the leftoids might have hoped. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Leave a like if you want, subscribe if you feel like it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.